हाँ Good evening, everyone. Pratik this side. We are expecting the majority. So let's wait for a couple of minutes and then we shall start. Good evening, everyone. I know most of us were expecting Simran to join today, but due to her sickness, she'll not be able to join us today. However, uh, this is Pratik Mohanty, and I'll be thanking you all for joining us today. And we are actually very thrilled to have Miss Samriddhi Shukla, a distinguished graduate of Skyy Skill Academy, with us for this special info session on electric vehicle domain. Ms. Samriddhi is currently a senior manager of sales and project management at Bosch. We are really excited to hear their insights and experiences. Their journey from Skyy Skill Academy to being a managing role in Bosch exemplifies the potential and opportunities that Skyy Skill Academy offers. How are you doing, Samriddhi?
Hi, Pratik. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the introduction. I'm doing good. How about you? Can you hear me?
Samriddhi, can you please check your audio? I guess you are muted or something. I'm unable to hear you.
Hello. 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 Uh, okay, then might be there is some issue with Pratik.
Yeah, Samriddhi, you're audible, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So good evening, everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Pratik. I'm doing good. How about you?
Samriddhi, can you tell us your journey since graduating from Sky Skill Academy and how are your experiences have been, shaping your career path?
Yeah, definitely. So I joined Sky Skill Academy in 2022, right after COVID ended. And I started, I was looking for opportunities in terms of electric vehicles due to my interest in automotive industry since so long. And however, I ended up getting in touch with Himanshu sir. And from there, I got to know, and from there, I got to know more about SkySkill, and I ended up joining this course on hybrid electric vehicles, which ultimately shaped my learnings in a manner that I could take it forward to my interview for Bosch. And I ended up getting the job as well in 2022 itself. Now it's been 2 years of working with Bosch already. And I am now working as a senior engineer looking after sales and project management. So, whatever the learnings I took from Sky Skill Academy, back then it was Skyrider Institutions, it has been enormous amount of learning, which I definitely carried forward for my interviews and for my experiences. And it has definitely shaped my career in a manner I couldn't have imagined any other way.
Glad to know that. I'm curious to know, the major challenges that the industry is currently facing, the particular industry of electric vehicle.
Challenges which electric vehicles industry are majorly facing. So basically, if I have to begin with the uh, basic challenges, so as all of us are already aware that we look for charging stations when it comes to EVs, basically. So the major problem which is currently India is facing is mostly because of the developing nature of the charging infrastructure. So one of the major point comes out of the charging infrastructure because people are usually fearful that the battery will get exhaust while driving. So this is a kind of range anxiety that comes up when one starts to go ahead with EV. So this range anxiety along with charging infrastructure comes up. Other than that, the supply chain of EV is still not very much developed in India. So people are usually facing issues with respect to that as well. And the initial setup for EV is comparatively costly to what gasoline engines are. So one major challenge comes in terms of the initial cost as well.
That was quite insightful. Moving on, to the next question, I would like to ask you, how do electric vehicles uh, uh, are compared with the traditional gasoline vehicles, particularly in the terms of long-term cost and maintenance?
In terms of cost, I would say initial setup cost for EV is somewhat higher than that of gasoline, but the cost per mile for EV is quite less than what gasoline offers. And in long term, the maintenance for like EV is quite better than that of gasoline. We don't require regular maintenance for EV like we do for gasoline because EV is mostly based out of software as well. So maintaining an EV is quite better what compared to gasoline.
That makes complete sense. Most of
Yeah.
us would be interested, in the battery technology as well. So, what are the major advancements that we can expect in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, okay, in terms of battery, we can maybe expect advancement in terms of having more sustainable options, like which are more affordable in terms of lithium ion batteries as well. Other than this, we can also expect faster charging batteries so that the time what we take in recharging the battery every time we start our journey, that can be shortened. Then we are also expecting increased energy density so that whatever is carried in a particular lifetime currently, that can be increased lately. And furthermore, we are also expecting lower flammability in terms of the batteries. The new battery technology are expected to be less flammable.
Thanks for the insights on the battery technology specifically. I'd also like to know, how does the government policies impact the adoption of electric vehicles? Is it playing a big role in that as well?
It is playing a big role for sure, but currently we are expecting more tax incentives in terms of EVs. We are expecting more manufacturing programs, awareness programs, so that people are also um, looking forward to go for EVs because I think somewhere there is still a lack of awareness in people, especially who are in the rural areas. People are not much aware of going forward for EVs. So government incentives and awareness programs are a must to begin with advancement in, have more people getting on board for EV. So that's how I am expecting, or we are expecting in general.
Right. I'm completely aligned with you on that point. So, how can electric vehicles really contribute to reducing our carbon footprints, or let's say we always talk about going green. So,
Yeah.
what could be the major aspects of that? Can you please enlighten us on that?
Yeah. So basically, if we go for reducing carbon footprint, we need to reduce our reliability on fossil fuels. EVs basically run on electricity, which can be generated from renewable resources for sure, like solar power. This will definitely reduce the need for gasoline and other fossil fuels, which will eventually lead to reducing the emissions. And when once we talk about reducing emissions, we automatically start talking about reducing noise and air pollution for sure. So in that manner, we can start with reducing carbon footprints. But when we talk about reducing carbon footprints and reducing air pollution, we automatically move ahead with an improved air quality and reduced uh, EVs also, what say, reduce the waste which gets produced, since of the emission which it creates is less harmful. So automatically the wastage which gets out is also reduced in comparison with the gasoline engines. So that's how we are looking forward to reducing the carbon footprints.
Uh, that's absolutely right. So whenever we talk about the aspects of electric vehicles, or let's say any major industries, definitely it brings a lot of job opportunities as well, career opportunities. So just wanted to know what could be the major career opportunities in this particular domain of electric vehicles.
Career opportunities. EV is a growing industry as of now. So there are a lot of career opportunities, whether you would go for the OEMs or for component manufacturers. Anywhere there are a lot of opportunities coming in, whether it is in technical aspect or sales and project management. Because if you will talk about the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, you see there are a lot of companies. If I have to name, maybe MG Motors, Honda, they are going a lot towards electric vehicles now in India. Kia, again, we talk about Kia, Hyundai. They are looking forward to EVs now. So if you have to look out of opportunities out of OEM, a lot of opportunities are getting created in in these companies in a lot of domains, whether it comes to sales, whether it comes to project management, or in terms of production, manufacturing, all of these domains, we are getting opportunities. And if we talk about
Right.
component manufacturers, again, we have a lot of business starting with all these customers. Since uh, they are working towards EV, we are working towards their products. So again, if we come to the component manufacturers, there are a lot of opportunities coming in terms of EV.
Right. So,
Sorry, your voice got broken. Hello.
Yeah, I believe I'm audible right now.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
So
Let's
let's carry forward our conversation. So you were mentioning the major career opportunities in this particular domain.
So
So
I'm
I'm
curious
I
to
curious to know
think
know
your
how
voice
is
is
the
echoing.
infrastructure
Can you?
for
for
EV,
EV,
such
such
as
as
charging
charging
stations,
stations,
or be
or
it
be it
developing
developing
in
in
urban or
urban or
rural
rural
areas.
areas.
Could you
Could you
talk
talk
about
about
that a
that a
bit
bit
for
for
this
this
particular
particular
industry?
industry?
Pratik, I think your voice is echoing. Can you just check and repeat?
Is it still echoing?
No, it's fine now.
It's better now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just asking, how is the infrastructure for electric vehicles, such as charging stations, or be it developing in urban and rural areas? So, how are we looking forward to it?
Uh, there are developments in that aspect for sure, but as I already mentioned, that government still needs to look a lot into this aspect about developing the charging infrastructure because this brings kind of a range anxiety in people. I mean, if we talk about ourselves only, if we have to go for an EV and if we are looking for a charging station, like maybe we are traveling for 1000 kilometers, then we need to be very much sure about having charging stations every now and then. Because when we travel with a gasoline engine, we look forward to petrol pumps every now and then, or at least maybe for some 20 liters. If we are having 20 liters, we look forward and we plan our journey according to that amount of fuel which we carry. So once we move towards the lessening the amount of fuel, we start looking forward for petrol pumps. So in that aspect, we have to have uh, charging stations as well at such frequent locations like we have the petrol pumps. So that infrastructure is really yet to be developed and is not very much frequent in India as of now. And especially in rural areas, things are quite comparatively quite uh, down, I would say, or low. But in urban areas, the development is going fine, but not as much as it is required. You are on mute.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned how electric vehicle. Uh, Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah. You are audible.
Yeah, so I was saying how electric vehicles contribute to the reduction of carbon footprint. So, can you just give us the insights of how is the like what role do renewable energy sources play in the future of electric vehicles?
Definitely. In the future, it would lead to reducing the air pollution. It will lead to reduced operating cost as well. Other than this, we would be having improved resource efficiency that will help us decarbonize the road transport sector and improve the resource efficiency. Then we can also have reduction of the greenhouse gas emissions. So renewable resources are definitely going to play a huge role in the development of EV sector.
And we would love to know the explanation from you specifically for the different types of electric vehicles and their respective advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, so electric vehicles are basically categorized into three types, which are hybrid electric vehicle, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, and battery electric vehicles. So if I have to go one by one, hybrid electric vehicles are those electric vehicles which have a battery and it has an electric motor as well. So basically, it goes like uh, how do I explain? So it's like we are having both the gasoline engine and the battery with the electric motor so that we always have an opportunity to switch. Like if we are going on a battery and if the battery gets discharged, we can immediately switch to the gasoline side of the vehicle. The plug-in hybrid electric vehicle again consists of the same components but is of a higher power or maybe greater battery efficiency and last longer than what hybrid electric vehicles do. Nevertheless, it also has the option to switch to gasoline whenever needed. The battery electric vehicles are completely battery operated and doesn't have any gasoline engine inside it. And if we have to talk about the advantages and disadvantages, the advantages of electric vehicles are for sure that they are eco-friendly and they would be needing low maintenance. But if we have to talk about the disadvantages, again, the initial setup cost is too much. And then the infrastructure for charging is again a big concern till the time it gets standardized all across the country. Till the time it gets standardized, it is a disadvantage for sure because we will be having limited options otherwise and less driving range.
Absolutely agree to that points as well. How important is software development and integration in evolution of electric vehicles? Because these days, at the end, it all comes down to the softwares as well. So would you like to? Yeah, please.
Yeah, software development for sure is a very important factor because since the start of this session, we are talking about charging infrastructure every now and then. So the real-time charging would mainly depend upon how the software is getting developed and how the software is communicating with the charging station. Because at the end of the day, it's the software that will operate the charging station rather than the hardware. The hardware would just be the outer body. But how the software will function, that is going to play a major role in how the vehicle gets real-time charged. Again, if we want to talk about the infotainment systems or the advanced driver assistance system, which is getting very common nowadays in foreign countries, but is also, but a lot of Indian OEMs are also looking forward to the ADAS technology now. So for that also, we are looking forward to the software development when it comes to EV. So software is definitely going to play a very major role.
For sure. So whenever we consider any new models of vehicles, let's say it be in SUVs or sedans, the first thing that we consider is how safe are they on the roads. So what are the safety concerns associated with electric vehicles and how are they being addressed?
Safety concerns are majorly about the high voltage which the battery carries usually, because the um, components which are there in an electric vehicle are of very high voltage and it can deliver a fatal electric shock. So in terms of that, we have to make the driver and the people who are there in the car very much aware of how it behaves. Again, the batteries are very flammable because they contain organic electrolytes at the end of the day. So again, awareness with respect to that is very much necessary when it comes to addressing these things. Then we can also talk about the emergency response, which comes with EV. So basically, we need to address these few things about the flammability of the battery, about the high voltage that gets carried inside the components. But mostly it comes to the training and how properly the owner and the passengers are looking forward to understand the awareness. Because if we are talking about EVs, we are definitely talking about something which is technology based. So once we talk about technology again comes with its own set of pros and cons. It's not like if something is technology based, it's going to have only its pros. So if the pros are there, there would be having equal sets of cons. But we need to just be aware and well trained about how to tackle those cons so that we can get the best of the pros out of there.
Right. So you talked about you definitely. So you talked about the features that these electric vehicles will be having and what we can expect from certain vehicles. So how do electric vehicle manufacturers ensure for sustainability of the production processes? Because we see a lot of new manufacturers also, jumping into the market. Everyone wants to explore this particular domain.
While many manufacturers use recycled materials in smaller components, EV manufacturers basically lead their way by maybe integrating these materials into the vehicle structure. They shift towards eco-friendly materials, not only to reduce the weight of their vehicle. Because when we talk about electrically run vehicle, we need to go for the weight as well. We cannot have very heavy vehicles which are running through electricity. So this significantly minimizes the environmental impact during their production and usage as well. So these manufacturers look forward to having eco-friendly manufacturing as well in terms of sustainability. And then they also look forward to the weight of the vehicle as well.
Definitely. So where there's manufacturing, obviously there is economy. So what are the potential economic impacts of widespread electric vehicle adoptions?
I was reading an article yesterday only where it was mentioned that by 2030, we are expecting the EV share to go by 30% of the market industry, automotive market industry. EV is going to have a 30% share in the next 6 years. So definitely it's a major transition which India is going to face in next 5-6 years.
Sure. And talking about the transition, how can consumers, make the transition to electric vehicles in a very smooth way, and most importantly, the affordability factor. So it's definitely not a
Yeah,
one-day process, right?
no, definitely not. Since we were talking about the other question wherein we were discussing about how government can contribute. So again, when it comes to consumers would definitely be needing a lot of awareness programs in terms of switching towards EV. Because if we talk about the generation which is already using the gasoline vehicles, they would be adamant towards sticking to it. But there should be awareness program to change their mindset. If we have to talk about this younger generation coming in, they would be quite convinced towards going for EV. But if we have to talk about the older generation, they would be quite adamant towards sticking to gasoline. So there should be proper awareness programs. Other than this, there should be what say affordable vehicles launching, because EVs are quite expensive as well. So if the government or if the industry wants people to transition to have a transition towards EV, it should be affordable for everybody, not in a manner that it is in terms of gasoline. Obviously, that is really not possible considering the cost the EV components carry, but somewhat affordable for at least the maybe half of the, I think, population, I would say, which is still not practically possible. But if we have to talk about transition, we need to make the vehicles affordable for one and all. So this is not going to happen in a short span of time. It will definitely take a very longer span of time, but we can start with the affordable measures as well. And other than this, awareness program is a must. Looking forward to the transition again, charging stations. The standardization of charging stations is again a very important factor.
Yeah. Talking about the factors that you all obviously mentioned, I mean, what are the main factors influencing the adoption of electric vehicles globally? Because obviously the efforts are put globally. So what could be the major factors influencing the adoption?
The major factors would be the charging speed. The faster the vehicle would get charged, the more effective it would be on road, and the more convincing it would be to the consumers. Other than this, the range, like uh, we can have Google Maps and all those things attached in a manner that it can be used or utilized while charging as well. Mostly, we can integrate as many as features possible to have a better influence over the consumers at the end of the day. We can have the demographic factors, psychological factors as well, which will impact a lot of people in terms of having an influence of transition towards the EV.
Personally, how has your perspective on electric vehicles changed over the past 5 years?
Okay, if I have to talk about my experience, I come from an electrical and electronics background. So I have done my bachelor's in technology from electrical and electronics engineering. So when I started back in 2019, I wasn't much aware about how it works like, this industry works like, but going forward, my interest in electrical and electronics domain increased in a manner that I wanted to have a better insight of how electric vehicle industry works. That's when I got in contact with Skyy Skill Academy as well, majorly Himanshu sir. And with time, I started getting uh, deeper and deeper inside the industry. Later on, I got a job in this particular industry. BOSCH also serves a lot in the EV domain as well. So over the past 5 years, I'm not sure if things have changed, but over the last 2 years for sure, ever since I started with Skyy Skill, my perspective has changed a lot in terms of getting job opportunities or in terms of my learnings, my knowledge or expertise. I would not say because it's too early to say expertise because it's been just 2 years. But yeah, the basic learnings and the basic knowledge and trainings and then the career opportunity, all these things have definitely changed my mindset over the EV industry because people usually look forward to having jobs in IT sector. This shouldn't be offensive to the people who have joined here, but people are usually interested in going for IT sector's job. But trust me, when you come to the automotive industry, things are quite different, quite new, and you get better opportunities to explore and you get a widespread aspect, a widespread view of how things actually work on roads and inside the industries. So this has been the perspective now.
Really glad to know that we could, assist you in your career path. Let's, talk about the top misconceptions people have about electric vehicles.
Misconceptions people usually have that the EVs don't run too far because of the charging concepts. These are the certain kind of myths which keep on going here and there, that the EVs take a lot of time to charge and then they end up getting drained out soon. Again, the other uh, myth comes upon the cost factor, that they are very expensive, which usually, if we have to compare with the gasoline, then definitely they are expensive, but not to an extent that if someone is able to afford a car in the range 11 to 20 lakhs for a gasoline, one can definitely go for EV as well in that range. So again, another misconception comes with the terms of cost. Some people are pretty much adamant on the fact that for the climate condition, EV is not good as compared to the gasoline engines. Then some misconceptions also come with the aspect of safety. Few minutes ago, we were talking about the safety concerns as well, about the high voltage components. So another misconception comes up with the point of safety as well. So these are a few misconceptions which will definitely go away if we have proper awareness programs.
Definitely. Here we have Karthik. He actually wants to fire a question. Can you please give some insights towards business growth and ideas on EV sector? Probably he's referring to the manufacturing point of view, that
Yeah.
most of the companies are jumping into the particular sector. So do you like
Yeah.
to, yeah, please.
See, this transition has not been a one-day transition. If we have like to go basically in a manner that earlier we had equal share of diesel and gasoline products or diesel and gasoline run vehicles. Now all the OEMs have moved towards gasoline vehicles. If we have to talk about the passenger car segment, not the commercial ones. So if we have to talk about the passenger car segment, the transition has been quite new for these from diesel to gasoline. It wasn't a one day program again. This was some obligation which made these OEMs to shift from diesel to gasoline completely. In the similar manner, it came for the component manufacturers as well. They were producing 50% diesel, 50% gasoline products, but then they shifted to 100% gasoline products. Now the OEMs are moving towards EV. So similarly, the component manufacturers are also moving towards EVs along with the gasoline components. So if we have to talk about the business ideas, it will definitely come in terms of how the I would say schemes are working, the government schemes are working. Because now we talk about the NCAP regulation, Bharat NCAP regulations which have come. It again gives you a lot of obligations that to get those 5-star ratings, you have to go through these certain criteria. And if you fulfill that, you will get the 5-star Bharat NCAP rating. So again, the companies, OEMs will definitely go for that criteria. So if you are looking for business ideas, you have to go through the whole government scheme, that how the government wants to function in that particular domain. And then you can have a better understanding of how things are already going into that domain before you pitch into that. So this is how it will start with the industry. You are on mute, Pratik. Sorry to interrupt. You are on mute, Pratik.
Extremely sorry, extremely sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's okay.
I hope that answers Karthik. However, we can take another question from Agrim as well. He asks, so what are the demanding skills in the EV sector to join us? It's a beneficiary to BTech mechanical engineer, required demanding skills or certification course, which benefits to join up after the graduation. So once he's done with the graduation, he wants to pursue in this particular domain. So yeah.
Definitely. Graduation in mechanical or electrical and electronics or electrical engineering. This is going to be a major requirement when we will talk about going into the EV industry. But other than this, some certifications are will definitely boost your CV only and your learnings as well. Because before stepping into the actual world, you will have a greater insight of how this industry actually goes. Because if I have to talk about my experience, I was an electrical engineer, but then I got this hybrid electric vehicle course from Skyy Skill Academy, and then I stepped into BOSCH. So when I stepped into BOSCH, I already had the greater insight of how things actually work and how the EV industry works. So this was definitely a boost for me because I was aware of the industry beforehand. So my skills were sufficient and satisfactory for the hiring manager as well. Because if he had to make a choice between someone who is already equipped with the knowledge of electric vehicles and somebody who's a fresher, he will always go with the former one. So having skills and having certification is always a better thing, a bonus, I would say.
That was really nice. Actually, Karthik, actually, yeah, Agrim, yeah. I believe the academics team of Skyy Skill would be happy to take the conversation from here and to shadow what Samriddhi already said. So we can take another question from Chirag. I want to do master in Germany. Can you give me a suggestion in job opportunities at Germany as well as at Bosch, which is German? So I'm also he is also from mechanical field.
Okay. So job opportunities in Bosch, if I have to say, I'm really not sure how to address this thing because I have recently maybe completed my graduate apprenticeship period now. And it's been 2 years of me working in Bosch, and I was majorly working with the quality domain till now. And now I'm starting with sales and project management. So if we have to talk about Bosch Germany, I'm really not aware of how things work there. Currently, I'm not aware, but maybe in another 6 months, I would be able to answer this as well.
Correctly answered. Karthik says, as ma'am mentioned before, the vehicle weight should be less, or some manufacturers taking less for high efficiency, but does it affect the safety of the vehicle? So, as an engineer, you would love to answer this question. Yeah.
Definitely. So if we have to talk about the weight, it's not going to affect the safety of the vehicle because there are certain criteria which needs to be fulfilled. So in any case, if we are going for less reduced weight for better efficiency, the manufacturer will definitely make sure that uh, there is no difference when it comes to the safety of the vehicle, because at the end of the day, when a vehicle is sold, what matters is the safety of the vehicle and nothing else matters after a vehicle is sold. So in no case and in no scenario, the safety of the vehicle will be disturbed.
Yeah, I think Karthik would be satisfied with that answer for sure. Just curious to know, how does electric vehicles contribute to reducing air pollution in major cities, because it has been the concern for most of the cities in India.
Yeah, basically, they minimize air pollution by releasing maybe zero exhaust emissions. Because when we talk about EVs, we talk about reduced emission or sometimes zero emissions as well. Then there are lower hazardous pollutants such as uh, maybe nitrogen dioxide, or noise pollution again gets reduced, because when we see a electric vehicle running on the road, we don't hear those noise which usually comes out of gasoline engines. Not very much, but to a certain extent, we get the noise from the gasoline engines. But when we talk about EVs, we usually don't get noise pollution as well. So basically, they basically depend upon being run on electricity, and then renewable resources definitely add on to the reduced pollution, whether in terms of air or in terms of noise.
Well said. So Adarsh actually asks, ma'am, what do you think of a charging station infrastructure nowadays and upcoming scenario in India? And what are the skills needed for that? Wants to know the skills needed for charging scenario.
Yeah, so basically, charging infrastructure is yet under development and is currently going well. There are a lot of companies, again, we were talking about the career opportunities as well. So there are a lot of companies who are working on development of charging uh, stations. So one can have a lot of opportunities in the charging stations as well, because the development and the manufacture of charging station also needs the expertise and thought process of someone who belongs to the industry of electric vehicle already. So again, going through the process of EV industry or courses of EV industry, one can definitely go into this charging station sector as well, where one can use their expertise in order to develop the charging stations.
So we can probably take one last question from the audience. Ma'am, what is your thoughts about sustainable energy solutions? Either switch to EV vehicle, because basically majority electricity are produced through thermal power plants.
Yes, majorly electricity is produced through thermal power plants, but now we are also looking forward to solar power plants as well, solar panels to generate electricity. Because when we are talking about EVs, reducing the pollution, we are looking forward to renewable energy resources. We are looking forward to having less waste material as well. So when we are planning about generation of electricity, we are looking forward to having solar panels when we talk about the development of EVs. So sustainability is definitely being taken care of when EV is produced. So that's how the sustainability is into picture when it comes to EV.
So thank you so much, Samriddhi, for sharing your valuable insights and experiences in the electric vehicle industry. Definitely, your perspectives have been incredibly enlightening and have provided all of us with a deeper understanding of the opportunities and challenges in this exciting field. So as we wrap up, I encourage everyone to reflect on the key takeaways from today's discussion and think about how you might apply these insights to your own career. So if you have any follow-up questions or need further information, please feel free to reach out to Skyy Skill Academy, or Samriddhi herself should be happy to spam her email ID on the chat. And thank you all for participating and making this session a success. Have a great evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Samriddhi. Yeah.
Have a good evening, everyone.